everyone, this is David Stark from WatcherPass.com, your website for movie reviews, interviews, and recommendations. Today I'm going to talk about New Order, which is releasing on May 21st, 2021 from Naian. It's a Mexican film by Michel Franco, and it depicts a violent uprising that occurs in, I think, Mexico City. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was in Mexico City. It's a drama, but it feels like it could be just straight out of any sort of headlines. It's kind of a very tough to watch film, but it's also so well done. It's a phenomenal movie. In the film, you have this wealthy family who is throwing a wedding for their daughter, and just outside of this, celebration, there's slowly building this unrest in the city where, the I guess poor or working class, however, whatever you want to describe them, are slowly kind of uprising against the wealthy individuals in the city, and it just devolves into chaos eventually. It is such a well done movie, and it is such a well done kind of overall cinematic experience. It can be a little painful at times. It can be a little tense because of just everything that happens, but it is an experience. I would recommend seeing it. I would recommend seeing it in a setup that has good sound, good video, because there are a lot of bright colors for the party scenes versus some darker muted experiences from the uprising. I'm going to just talk about three things I liked about the film, and then touch on one or two things I didn't like about the film, and then kind of leave it up to you to decide. And just to let you know, there will be some spoilers in this. So if you want the spoiler-free review, you can take a look at WatcherPass.com, where I post my written reviews. Are spoiler-free. I try to keep them very vague, so you can check that out. But if you're interested in hearing more about the film, there you go. The first thing I loved is just the setup. This film has such an amazing setup. You start at the wedding where everyone is happy, and it foreshadows a little bit at the very start. There's some foreshadowing. I didn't really actually understand it until I went back and rewatched it, because you kind of had to have some context of the rest of the film. But this wedding scene is just this wonderful celebration, but you can kind of slowly see little cracks appear. You've got the water turns green, which is a symbol of the protest at some point, and then turns off. It's just there for a hint. You start hearing police sirens and sounds of unrest in the background occasionally during this party, and then you'll see a guest who comes up, and maybe they've got a little bit of paint on them from the protest, or a guest that comes up and is a little shaken. It is really good build up, because I love that it doesn't tell you, like, there's no news report or radio report that says like what's going on. It kind of leaves it to the viewer to get this from the context clues. I really love that kind of film making. And then eventually this kind of comes to a head when the revolution, or the uprising comes to the party. And I thought that setup was perfect, because it really kind of shows this bubble that this family lives in. And I think the family represents the greater wealthy class in this area, but it kind of shows the bubble that they're in, and then once that bubble collapses, then chaos ensues. The other, the next point, so number one is the setup. Number two is the acting. The acting is really good. Like, it's very convincing. You've got some characters that have to act happy, elated, and then very sad, and then very scared. You've got characters that can flip on a dime when they might be supporting one side and supporting the other. It is just a very kind of overall very well done film. There's nothing that really breaks your sense of immersion from the acting standpoint. You've got characters that feel, that feel scared in this uprising. You've got characters that feel empowered by it, and it's just a very kind of seamless acting experience. I mean, the whole film is so well done, but the acting itself was very kind of was very natural, given the circumstances. And the third thing I really liked is just the way that I guess the uprising was done. It's very impressive. There are these scenes of destruction. There's these scenes that have streets destroyed. You've got buildings destroyed. You've got chaos that erupts, and then you have some semblance of order that comes back. But you always have a little bit of unrest in the background. It's very impressive. I think because I didn't notice any CG, maybe there is CG in it, but it is very well done. It just feels like the whole film feels like a realized world, and one that could be, that you could see in the headlines today. It's an extreme version of it, but it is something that feels like it touches on a lot of modern topics of unrest and disparity, and the haves and the have-nots. It's set in Mexico, but it feels like this could be set in any number of countries that are dealing with these issues. So things that I didn't like, and this is kind of a double-edged sword, because one thing I didn't like, I didn't love the ending. But when I went back and thought about it, I think the ending makes sense. I think it's a well done ending. I wanted a happier ending, and it was a very realistic ending. In the end, spoilers, heavy spoilers. You have Marianne, who is the kidnapped daughter. She gets kidnapped after the wedding. And then she gets held by what appear to be military defectors who are trying to ransom off hostages for profit, because they're trying to make some money during this crazy uprising. Eventually, her family roughly figures out where she is, or who they think is holding her, and they call in some favors from their own military contacts, who go and find this base, this holding cell, and appear to rescue everyone. But then what occurs is they take Marianne to one of the workers in the house's house, and they shoot her and then frame the worker to make it look like he shot them. And it's not really explained, but my general thinking is that what happens is, the military didn't want people to distrust the military. They didn't want them to think that that this had happened, that they'd had defectors. So they covered it up. They killed all the defectors, make them look like just casualties in the uprising, and then tried to kill the hostages so they couldn't speak about it. So I was a little sad, because you spend a lot of time with Marianne. She goes through a crazy ordeal. You kind of feel for her, and then it's over. And it kind of left me with a sour taste. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, this fits with this world and this story that Michel Franco is trying to tell. Another thing that it's not something I didn't like. It's something that was I guess maybe discomforting for me, is just how quickly people died in this film. And it makes sense because of the situation. But you have characters that just they're just shot and then they're gone, and it happens multiple times, and it shows kind of the violence that could occur, and kind of the unrest and the chaos that was happening. But I didn't love that part, but I also appreciated that it was so accurately depicted, or I guess so gritty in how it was portraying this uprising. And again, that it's interesting, because you have characters that do the right thing during this uprising, but because there's so much chaos, because sometimes it's at night, sometimes you don't have a full story, you don't know what's going on. Even characters that are kind of helping or trying to do the right thing, or trying to help their family, they die just like everyone else, and they die quickly sometimes, without any sort of foreshadowing or hint. All of a sudden they're gone. And so I think, again, not something I loved, but something that I appreciate about this film. So I don't want to come up with a third thing. I really liked this film. I thought it was so well done, so engrossing, and just so kind of discomforting, because of just how quickly it depicts this descent into chaos. So I thought it was a very well done film. It's something that you should definitely check out. It feels like it could, it's set in Mexico, but it could be set in any number of cities, and it is just a whole cinematic experience. You might not like it. It is tense, but it is so well done. So the film is New Order. It's releasing in theaters on May 21st, 2021 in the United States. It came out, I believe, in Mexico in 2020, so it's already been out there, but it's coming to the United States on May 21st, 2021 from Naian. And it is very good. It's definitely a watch. I think you should check it out. But that was my take on New Order. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree, or if I got something wrong. Like, please tell me. I'm happy to take criticism. But thank you so much for watching. If you liked this interview, or if you liked this review, Please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot and makes sure all my new content goes straight to you. And as always, please go to watcherpass.com for all your movie reviews, interviews, and recommendations. Thank you.